Hello guys, welcome back to Java session. So in this particular video, we are going to cover one more example on servlet. I'm going to cover all servlet lifecycle methods along with the different servlet classes and interfaces, right? So here what we are going to do, I'm going to use the init method, which we discussed. It's a lifecycle method, then service method followed by destroy method. So I'm going to use all lifecycle methods along with this whatever the interface. So we create servlet in three ways. One is by using HTTP servlet that we covered in the last example. Then today I'm going to create the servlet by using servlet interface, right? These are two there in our syllabus. The third one, generic servlet, it is not covered. It's not there in the syllabus. That's what I'm going to discuss examples on these two only. This is already covered. Today I'm going to conclude with this, right? Now, so I want to create an web application. I will. Oh, I'm already created a web application that is deployed in the Tomcat 6 server web apps folder. This is a servlet example which I created. So first I'm going to the servlet class. This is a servlet class which I created by covering all the lifecycle methods. 1 minute. Yeah. So I'm importing the required packages. I'm importing servlet package and IO package. While reading any input output, while reading the data, if we have any input output exceptions, I'm throwing that exceptions. Then I'm importing the servlet package to use all the servlet lifecycle methods as well as the servlet interface. Then here, whenever you want to create a servlet by using this servlet interface, so your class that must implement the servlet interface. That's what I'm using implement servlet interface. So I'm creating object for the servlet config class. So basically I'm assigning null. Later I am going to create object to this servlet config, and that servlet config, it gives complete information about this servlet to the server, right? Then I'm taking the init method. So whenever the web container, it gets request from the web server, what it will do first, it calls the init method. It loads the servlet, then it starts the calls the init method. This init method, it gives the servlet information by using this servlet config class. So this config object, it holds the complete configuration details about this servlet, right? So I'm initializing this. Then whenever you are calling the init method, I want to know whether this is executing or not. That's what I'm printing a message that is servlet is initialized. That in the sense, whenever you are started servlet, so by that time you'll get a message that is servlet is initialized. Then in order to perform the action, in order to provide the service, we need the service method. So I'm taking the service method. This service method, it requires two parameters, request object and response object. So earlier we created request object and response object by using HTTP servlet request class and HTTP servlet response class. So that is whenever we are used this HTTP servlet class. Now what I'm doing, I'm using the different classes to create this request object and response object. That is, here I'm using servlet request class and servlet response class. For these two classes, I'm creating request object and response object respectively, right? So if we have any exceptions, I'm throwing those exceptions by using the throws keyword. Now, whenever the service method is getting executed, if any response is generated by the server, that response type I am setting. So response set content type is either text or HTML. In what format you want to display the output, right? Then if you want to display the output on the web browser, definitely we use printWriter class. This we discussed in the last session. PrintWriter class, I'm creating object to the printWriter class. So I'm writing the data on the printWriter object by using this getWriter method. I'm getting the response from the response object and I'm writing on the printWriter object. Now I want to display the output on the web page. That's what I'm creating a HTML web page, HTML body. So there I'm displaying the response in the bold. That is hello, welcome to, or hello, simple servlet, right? I'm closing the body and I'm closing the HTML, right? This all I'm doing in the service method. Initially we called init method. Init method is calling the service method. So this service method is providing the service by using this request object and response object, right? Whenever the service method gets request from the request object, then it displays a simple message that is hello, simple servlet. This is a message it is going to be displayed. So this is done by the service method. What else? We need to deallocate the memory which is allocated to this request object and response object. That's what I am calling the destroy method, right? Here in the destroy method, whenever you are calling the destroy method, what I'm doing, I want to display a message to the user, that is this particular servlet is destroyed, right? So that's what system.out.println servlet is destroyed that I am displaying, right? So if you want to know the servlet configure information, then you can return by using this object return config. Whenever you are calling this get servlet config, you will get the configuration details of the servlet. Even you can also get the servlet information like copyrights and all, so that you can return by using this get servlet info, right? So now what I'm doing, I'm closing the class finally, right? This is the servlet which I created. Then I deployed it in the server. 1 minute, beta. Now I'm going to create the web.xml beta. So before creating the web.xml, I need to create the web page. So here I'm just creating a index page because in order to send the request to the server or servlet. So what I'm doing, just I want to create a hyperlink. Whenever I'm clicking on the hyperlink, then I want to perform the action. So that's what I did. I'm using the H reference. I'm using Anchor tag. So I'm creating a hyperlink, right? So here my URL pattern is hello. This is the URL pattern which I'm going to use it in the web.xml in order to map with the servlet, right? This is the uh, uh, message. This is the hyperlink which I am going to generate. Just invoke generic servlet, or this is not generic servlet, but invoke servlet interface, right? Invoke servlet interface. So if you are clicking on this, then this is the stupid text. You can modify this. 1 minute, let me modify. So invoke servlet, that's it, right? So this I am saving. So if you are clicking on this hyperlink, then the request goes to the URL pattern by using this hello. Then go to that web.xml, create your web.xml. This is my web.xml, right? Here I'm going to map the servlet with the web page. I'm creating a web application. I'm creating a servlet. My servlet name is S1, that is mapped with the my servlet class. Then I'm closing this servlet. Then I want to map the servlet. So that's what servlet mapping tag I am using. So I'm mapping my S1 servlet with the hello pattern. That in the sense, we give something invoke servlet. If you are clicking on this invoke servlet, that request goes to hello URL pattern. This hello URL pattern is attached with the S1. That S1 is attached with the first. Then first servlet gets executed. That generates the response. That response we written by using print writer class. We are going to print it on the web browser. Then on web browser, you will get the output. This is the flow of execution beta. Right now, we created the application, no? Then deployed it in the server. After compiling the servlet beta. Without compiling servlet, you cannot get this. So I'm already compiled my servlet. That's what I'm placing the class file. If you have this, then only that gets executed. Then get back to your web apps. So here I deployed. If you want to show me the complete thing. So here is my server Tomcat 6. Within this, in web apps folder, I deployed my servlet or web application which I created. Then start your server, go to bin, start your server Tomcat 6, right? My server is started, port number is 7878. You can see here. So go to your web browser, access any one of the browser, http:// localhost 78:7878. This is the port number. Now go to Tomcat Manager. It is asking the username and password, admin, and then admin. Then I'm clicking on sign in. So here your applications are. So in the last session, we executed this name application. Now we are going to execute this servlet application. If you want to start, it's already started. If you want to stop, click on stop, reload, undeploy means you are deleting application from the server, right? Now, so this is the response which we have in the backend server. Now, whenever I will click on the servlet example, the modifications are not reflected beta. It's a servlet interface. Invoke generic servlet. I'm clicking on this. So you are getting a simple message. Whatever we displayed, that is hello simple servlet. Now the start method gets executed and service method gets executed, because within the service method only we are displaying this message. If you go back and repeat, see, first we are calling init. After init, we are calling service. So in service only we are performing this action, right? So what message we are getting? Servlet is initialized. That in the sense servlet configured and it is initialized. You are getting this hello simple servlet means service method gets executed successfully. Then I want to say, sir, whether the destroy method is executed or not. So coming back is nothing but you're not closing your servlet. You're not deleting the request object and response object. Whenever you stop the servlet here, then only the servlet will be destroyed. So I'm stopping means here the application status will become false. If you see in the backend, now you are getting a message that is servlet is destroyed. This is a way of executing the servlet lifecycle beta, and these are all the different classes and interfaces which we use from the servlet package in order to create the servlet. These are all the different ways of creating the servlet, right? Chalo guys. Thank you. Have a great day.